Hello, hi, and welcome to EmpathicFire. I am your reader, Jay. These are going to be general messages for the sign of Cancer in November 2020. What is going on, Cancer? How are you guys doing? I hope that you're doing well. All right, Cancer, welcome to November. 1 month to go before 2020 is in the record books, and what a record it's going to leave, huh? Anyway, wherever you are in the world, Cancer, at this time, I hope you're happy, safe, healthy, and secure. Please continue to take very good care of yourselves and those that you know and love. If you are celebrating Thanksgiving at the end of this month, I wish you a happy Thanksgiving to you and yours. If you are getting together with people, family, friends, again, please be safe, take precautions, because, 2020 is still very much the year of the pandemic. Other than that, yeah, there's no other announcements for November, really. Nope. So let's go ahead and get into it. Cancer, if you want anything from me, it is already in the description box. If you're looking for the timestamp, it is down there. If you want to see how to go about purchasing a personal reading with me, it is also down there. If you have a question before you place an order, just email me at the same address and I'll answer you as soon as I can. If you're interested in doing a donation to the channel, it is never expected but always appreciated. Feel free to use the Cash App link or the PayPal link below as well. And if you are looking to follow me on Instagram, the name is EmpathicFire Tarot on Instagram. There's a link for that down in the description box as well, okay? All right, guys, let's go ahead and do this. Let's see Cancer's outcome for November 2020, please. Cancer's outcome for November 2020, please show me. Oh, my. That's 3. Okay, so because it came in 3, I'm not going to take it, but I do want to note the 5 of Pentacles there on the top of the flip. If it was 2, maybe I would have taken it. Let's try that again, please. Cancer's outcome in November 2020. Please show me. Okay, there we go. The Hierophant. Bottom of the deck is the overall energy. I forgot how big these cards are, so I'm actually going to shift it a little bit. Un momento, por favor. I forget how, sometimes I forget, like, the size of the cards that I own. That's ridiculous. All right, that looks a little bit better for me. All right, and let's flip what came face down for you. Okay. All right, let's get into it. Please show me where Cancer is in November 2020. Cancer in November 2020, please show me. Okay, got it. Very good. I apologize ahead of time. I'm a little congested, so, please bear with me. Hopefully I'm not coming down with a cold or any other type of illness, but we'll see. Cancer, coming into the reading, you start off with the energy of the Wheel of Fortune. All right, so secondary major for... Geez, I'm about to blank. Sagittarius, there you go. You could be dealing with a Sagittarius or not at all. Also sometimes associated with the fixed signs, so Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius could be dealing with any of those signs or not at all. The big takeaway or the big message that's coming across for you, though, Cancer, is you are learning your lessons and you are anticipating, if not prepared for, or in some cases maybe because of this figure that's falling off of the wheel, perhaps underprepared for an ending. It feels like it's karmic for many of you, like big lessons, like big spiritual and or life lessons where I think there's a group of Cancers that are embracing the lesson. They understand what they were meant to learn. They understand what they went through and why they went through it, or how it applies to their life, how it exposes or highlights certain patterns of functionality, because I get this idea of patterns, with the turning of the wheel. When things turn, they go in cycles, right? And you repeat them, right? So maybe some of you are, excuse me, coming to grips with or understanding your repeated patterns in your life, in your relationships, in your personality, what have you. Others of you, you're not there yet, but you're getting close. And others, you really have your head buried in the sand and you're not prepared and or accepting. That's a very small group. Most people who are watching tarot readings are not to say you cannot be resistant, but 9 times out of 10, I'm probably going to say, maybe 8 times out of 10, anybody watching a tarot reading and they do it regularly, which I think many people do, you're not going to continually watch and like not take on some lessons, not get clued in on certain things in your life that need healing, that need, certain work. And I think most of you Cancers in this energy with the Wheel of Fortune coming through as your first card, you're doing that work, or you have been doing that work. Bigger than that, well, not bigger than that, but also along with, excuse me, grabbing the lessons and recognizing your patterns, doing the work. I think some of you are also just like burnt out, because another element that comes along with the Wheel of Fortune is the element, or the concept of time, right? And I think some of you are just like so over it, and the frustration of it, or the exhaustion that you feel, or some of you, the impatience that you feel is really like acting as a catalyst. It's really giving you, I don't want to say the inspiration, but it's giving you the motivation, let's say. It's giving you the motivation to really begin to wrap things up that need to be wrapped up in your life. And again, like, they want me to go back and mention this word karmic again. Now, I don't claim, and I would never claim to have the definition of karma down pat, because I think everybody has, it's up to each of us as individuals to interpret what that means and how it plays out in our life, because karma is of varying types. Some people can have karmic debt or karmic issues around sexual relationships or intimate relationships, right? Other people can have karmic issues surrounding money or their own material wellness, and how they make a living and things like that. Other people can have karmic issues around their body, their own self-image, things like that. So I don't want to prescribe ever, really. Mostly on my channel, I try not to prescribe too much, because I leave it up to you guys as the viewer to interpret what that means to you. But if they want me to go back and mention this word karma, or the aspect of karmic debt, karmic ties, things like that. And some of you are really having, perhaps a few of you for the first time are conceiving of that, thinking about that, thinking of things in those terms, right? So they just want you to be aware of that, or to pay attention to that. Maybe some of you need to explore it more. Maybe some of you need to re-explore or re-examine what your understanding of karma is. Or maybe you think your karma that you're working on, that you are sort of meant to work through in this life, maybe you think it's one thing, but maybe it's actually another thing, is kind of what I feel there. Because the other aspect, not only of time and karma with the Wheel of Fortune, is also change, because the wheel turns, right? And like we see the 3 silhouettes there, the positioning of these 3 figures changes over time. At one point you're ascending, at one point you're on the top, and at the other point you're descending, right? You're falling off of the wheel. So there's something here about possibly changing your perception or understanding of what your karma is, what karmic lessons you're working on, and or recognizing new lessons, right? Something like that, okay? So what else happens? Again, I apologize. I'm so congested. It's disgusting. Anyway, well, yeah, you've got a lot of endings going on. Your reading, actually, overall, as I look down here, it looks pretty simple in the context of, I think I'm going to tell many of you guys information or stories that you already know. So here you are, having sort of a bird's eye view with the Wheel of Fortune. I think you are prepared to do things with this top line, and this is yes, okay, thank you. They're letting me know the bottom line is sort of like what is feeding your present moment, or what is feeding your conscious moment at this time. So you've had burden, thank you. You've had burden in your life. Most people have at some point, okay? So it's not that Cancers have the lion's share of the 10 of Wands, but in your very recent past, I'd say over the last few months, or maybe some of you it's been like several weeks, but and for a few of you maybe like a year or two, which is interesting because I don't normally talk about time in tarot, but that's kind of what was coming through. You've been carrying a lot of weight on your back. You've been carrying a lot of burden on your back. A lot of you also, this is emotional burden. I'm seeing and feeling like somebody has really struggled to come to some type of emotional truths or realizations, or expressions. Thank you. Some of you had a hard time expressing what you've been going through emotionally, mentally, physically, all those things, but particularly many of you mentally and emotionally, it's been really hard. Others of you, this is like the burden of life. Work is stressful, family life is stressful, 2020, hello, stressful for many of us. So there's just this feeling of it's all coming down at one time or, thank you. Okay, so you see the 10 wands on this gentleman's back. It's like one wand or maybe one or two are added at a time, right? So maybe a year ago in November 2019, maybe you got your first wand. Maybe, your first bit of stress or your first bit of burden was put on your shoulders, put on your back, right? And then a month goes by, maybe 2 months, and then January hits and oh, there's two extra wands. Then February 2020, oh, another two wands, and then March goes by, April goes by, oh, three wands are added now. And so, and again, I apologize for my congestion. I cannot help it. But anyway, we get to November 2020, and now it's like this cumulative point. And for some of you, it is revolving around one particular situation, one particular relationship, one particular circumstance or setting in your life. Interesting. Setting. Okay. Like we could perceive that sun in the back as setting or dawning. It's really up to your interpretation. But setting, I apologize. Excuse me. Setting in terms of like, literally where you live, how you live, who you live with, things like that, or setting as in like the eventual ending of something, because again, a 10 is a culmination point. But anyway, so you've gotten all these wands on your back, and now, it's time to put down this burden. It's time to put down this weight that you've been carrying. It's not in a dismissive way. I don't feel that you're abandoning anything. I don't feel that you're turning away from responsibilities or obligations. I feel though some of you are feeling a little guilty. Some of you might be feeling a little worried that you might be letting other people down or letting yourselves down. But I have to tell you, because of everything that I know that's down there, I feel cumulatively, Cancer, this is part of the lesson, is knowing when to stop carrying so much weight on your own shoulders, right? Whether you put that weight there yourself, whether you are solely responsible or not, it's just knowing your limits, I suppose, is kind of part of your lesson here for some of you Cancers, if not a good majority of you, is knowing your limits and knowing when not to cross your own limits. I feel some of you might be taking on burdens that don't belong to you. You might be taking on responsibilities that are shared, but then you're left carrying the bag or holding the bag or compensating for other people's shortcomings. Does that make sense? So in your home life, in your work life, something like that, you could be, just as an example, and this is just a very arbitrary example, and I'm not trying to make this as like your karma is exactly this, but let's say in your domestic life, as a husband, as a wife, as a roommate, as whoever, right? It doesn't matter. It doesn't even have to be about marriage. It could be whoever you are. But in your home, let's say you are responsible and you do all the laundry for everybody in your house, whether that be your family members, whether that be friends of yours, roommates, it doesn't matter. Let's say you do every stitch of laundry in your household, okay? And maybe you live with other adults. Some of them, maybe they're kids, but other people in the house are adults. Not to say that, again, that your karma would be based on something that seems so arbitrary or random, but it's sort of like you're caretaking. And you're caretaking when other people might have the capacity to take care of themselves. Does that make sense? So if you are constantly giving to other people and not receiving back, that is a burden, right? To be a caretaker is a burden, okay? And to have that expectation placed on you, or you put it there yourself, because some of you, you've placed these wands on your back yourself, that nobody else told you to do it or influenced you to do it. You just feel compelled to do it, right? And that's for you to work out, and that's for you to kind of understand or reach an understanding about, okay? But again, Wheel of Fortune, 10 of Wands, culmination points. Not to say you're, again, abandoning this, walking away completely, never doing another load of laundry in your life. I'm not saying that. But there is a new consideration that you're coming into, some type of realization. I think the realization, again, it's just an arbitrary example I use with the laundry thing, but whatever you're going through, Cancer, it feels like again, it's like your limits. It's not to say, again, like you're turning your back completely on everything that you've been doing up until this point. It's to say that maybe you're not going to do it all the time. Out of 365 days, maybe you'll do it 282 days. Does that make sense? Out of 24 hours in a day, maybe 5 hours a day you do something, or 2 hours a day you usually do something to the benefit of other people or to the benefit of yourself, or, and because that could also be here. Thank you. That's interesting. Because I said for yourself, right? There is a potential for a few of you that you're doing things selfishly and you're realizing that, and that can be a karmic lesson for you. And it might sound strange. How can selfishness be a burden? It can. It can, because I'm getting the sense in that, it's interesting. This thought just like came in and like ransacked my whole brain. So I'm getting the sense like for some of you, you might have selfish action. By the way, this is general. It can go vice versa. It can go the other way. So if you're dealing with someone and they're acting this way, it applies to them. But I'm getting the sense that somebody can act selfishly, and that creates barriers between them and other people. It puts stress on their relationships. It calls into question how authentic or genuine or caring a person can be when they act selfishly. And so for whoever this applies to, you might be walking a very lonely path, because again, we see this one person carrying these 10 wands, right? So you could be doing this by yourself, or the things that you're doing in your life, the way that you're behaving leads to you feeling kind of isolated. That's for like one or two people. And again, that idea just came in and like took everything else out of my brain. So give me 1 second, because my congestion is really bothering me. So I will be right back. All right, Cancer, I apologize about that. So yeah, I think some of you, well, regardless of whether you're acting selfishly or you're giving too much to other people or you're somewhere in the middle or whatever it is, the point is this 10 of Wands, I think you've come to a lot of realizations about yourself, your tendencies, your patterns, the sort of normalities of your life, and the things that you've been normalized and felt very content to do, and now you're like less content to do it. Or the situations and people around you are making it so that you can no longer really continue with the status quo. Okay? 10 of Pentacles. It can be... Am I going to sneeze? No. Okay. Jesus. Oh, God, I don't want to get sick. Anyway, the 10 of Pentacles can indicate long-standing generational family ties, okay? For some of you, maybe you've been conditioned into your behaviors, your patterns because of your family, the way that they've influenced you, the way you've grown up, the expectations of others, particularly family. For others, it doesn't have to be exclusively family. It can be the family that you've made. So maybe you're not close with your blood relatives, but maybe you have lots and lots of friends to speak of, and a big group of friends that you feel a part of. And but regardless of who the company that you keep are, whoever those people are, I feel there is sort of like this aspect or like it feels like, Cancer, in some of your cases, like you've learned to be who you are mostly through the eyes of other people, or mostly through the conditions or the expectations of others, right? That's typical. I mean, no person grows up as a lone wolf. Like, we all are raised by family and communities, and our societies and cultures and things like that. We're all influenced by those other people. But I feel like some of you Cancers, like the expectation or the pressure to do, the pressure to be, the pressure to show up and perform in a certain way is like a little extra. It doesn't feel, quote unquote, normal. Okay, it really feels like, well, okay, it's normal to you because you've lived it, right? It's normal to you because that's how you've grown up, and that's how you were instructed and taught. But I feel like some of you are like undoing that work. And that kind of also talks back to the Wheel of Fortune, because again, that Sagittarian aspect of the Wheel of Fortune, Sagittarius is the ninth house, and ninth house is about higher learning, both in a traditional sense in terms of brick and mortar schooling, and philosophical senses, or senses of our well, I suppose our just general sensibilities or our personal philosophies, which extends outside of traditional education, right? So some of you are in the process of unlearning what happened here, or what you were brought up to believe here, right? And I feel like this happened. Who was this for? Was this for Taurus? I think I did it yesterday. So it was either Aries, Taurus, or Gemini. Definitely, well, it wasn't Gemini. So it was either Aries or Taurus, where I talked about sort of undoing lessons, or reconsidering the ways in which we have been taught by our families, by our communities. And theirs was a spiritual thing, I think. I think it was Taurus. Theirs was a spiritual thing. I don't know that yours is necessarily spiritual. I think yours is really sort of just like a personal aha moment, or finally getting affirmation in what you've kind of suspected or what you've been working on already. I think the Taurian reading, I'm pretty sure it was Taurus. I think theirs was like more of like a sharp awakening, like, oh my God, I had no idea. And I think Cancer, you've had an idea, and like I said before, some of you have been like well prepared for this, and you're embracing this moment. This has been a long journey, because we see 10 of Pentacles, 10 of Wands. Tens are they indicate like not only a culmination point and a point where we're about to turn back over to the ace, but it also indicates that we've put in the work. We've gotten to the 10 because we've gone through the ace, the 2, the 3, the 4, and all the way up to 10, right? So we've done our work. We've been put through our paces, right? And so I feel in your home life and in your spiritual and emotional life, all of those ways, and even more, you've done your work, Cancer. Again, also partnering with the Wheel of Fortune, you have done the work. And unlike what I was feeling yesterday when I was doing the Taurus reading, and I keep mentioning them, so for some of you, you might have a Taurus of importance in your life. If you do, you might want to check out that reading. But the difference that I'm feeling in this energy is like you're really calm with it. Like they were not necessarily happy about this, or they were not necessarily, over the moon about this. I feel for you, Cancer, it's like a freeing moment. Like I feel you are again, I said this word earlier, embracing this moment. I feel a lot of you are just like feeling relief. Like, yes, I finally understand why I was doing this, why I felt compelled to do this, or I'm understanding how this pattern in my life is related to my karmic debt or any karmic lessons that, whatever you believe that means. Okay. I don't want to, again, I'm not trying to prescribe anything to you. And so I'm feeling, coming back here to the 10 of Pentacles and that word that I used earlier with the 10 of Wands, setting. Some of you, you're going to find a lot of freedom by changing your settings. Okay. Either where you live, where you work, the people, people make up a part of our setting, right? So if you hang around a certain group of people that maybe aren't on your vibe anymore, or you guys are just in disagreement, or you realize, oh my God, these people take advantage of me, or again, for some of you where you're on the selfish tip, maybe you're taking advantage of other people and you realize, I mean, this would be a stretch, and I'm kind of saying it just to be facetious, but maybe some of you are realizing, oh my God, I'm a narcissist and I take advantage of people who are empathic, or I take advantage of highly sensitive people. Oh my God, I'm I doubt it, but you know what I mean. I'm just trying to show that you don't have to be quote unquote the good person in order to resonate with this, or to have this message resonate with you. Okay. But some of you are realizing I take advantage in situations. I'm not as responsible for myself as I could be. I let other people take care of me. Even though I believe I'm independent, I'm actually very dependent on this person, that person, and him or her over there as well. And so there's a lot in this recognition that's coming from the Wheel of Fortune that shows you things have to wrap up, and you are about to embark on new journeys, because the 10s lead back to the aces, and aces are new opportunities, new paths, new chances, things like that. And in that process, in that transition, transition, change, all that kind of stuff is here, right? Yes. Oh, you know, I end up like talking to the wall across from me, or I talk to the corners of the room. It's really weird. And then I come back down here and I refresh myself and I'm like, oh, why am I saying these things? Well, duh. Death card. Major arcana for Scorpio. You could be dealing with a Scorpio, but you don't have to be. So this card here, and the archetype of Scorpio is about death and transformation, changes, ultimate changes. The Death card, and again, Scorpio archetypes, really are about acknowledging, excuse me, acknowledging when things are absolutely at an end. There's no going back. There's no reclaiming this. There's no reclaiming that. It's too far gone to have any chance of retaining what was there before, right? So, and I use this word a lot when I encounter the death card. Embracing death is like one of the most liberating things I think any human being can do, whether we're talking about mortal death or we're talking about figurative, metaphorical death. No matter how you slice it, when you embrace death, which is, in the phrasing that I've assigned to it, it's kind of weird. It might be a little creepy to a few of you, but when you do that, you are immediately liberated because you kind of align to sort of this inevitable truth that all things must change, all things must transform. Nothing is stagnant or nothing is static in life. Everything is dynamic and it's always evolving, always changing, always moving on to something else, right? And that's kind of what I feel you're doing. I feel that you're doing this towards yourself. Maybe taking a page out of your fellow water signs book, Scorpio, and maybe you're going through your own death and transformation, Cancer. I wouldn't put it past you because again, that is your sister sign, Scorpio. Your other sister sign, obviously Pisces, and all the signs that are in the same element, fire signs, water signs, earth signs, air signs, can borrow from each other, right? So if Scorpio can do this, if Scorpio maintains this energy, or sort of is the helm, sort of the head honcho, I should say, of this death and transformation process, you and Pisces both can do it as well, right? So I feel some of you, that's what you're doing here, embracing your own death and transformation in whatever way that means to you. In some of your cases, it's radical. Again, possibly changing your settings. Very, very, I feel it would be unexpected because it's not usually Cancer's way to have these massive, phoenix rising from the ashes type of moments. But again, it's your sister sign, Scorpio, showing up here to kind of guide you or give you like, like borrowing something. Oh, Scorpio, let me borrow your death and transformation process. Oh yeah, sure. Go ahead. It's in the closet. It's among all my black clothing, So it's sort of unexpected, possibly to yourself, but also to other people. And it's also not easy. I'm able to speak on it easily because I'm the person reading the cards and I'm not in your story. So I can translate this fairly easily, but I understand just from the sense that I'm getting here, the emotional sense that I'm getting here, a lot of you are going to struggle through this and you're not going to be able to do it possibly with the same quote unquote finesse as Scorpio, because Scorpios are used to it. and Pisces would struggle in their own way. And so for Cancers, I think it's like bittersweet. I think Cancer, if you have to leave certain people or situations behind, if you have to turn away from those things for the betterment of yourself, for your own health and wellness, for your own spiritual uptick, your own awakening, your own ascension, it's not going to be the thing that you want to do. But I think unlike, like I was saying earlier with Taurus, unlike that reading, you really know you have to. There's a few of you who are resistant. There's a few of you who are like, oh no, I really don't want to. Please don't make me. and others of you are like, well, I've been waiting this long, or it's like because you've been doing the work. Thank you. 10 of Wands and the 10 of Pentacles. Because you've been doing the work and because you've kind of been taking mental notes on this, right? It's kind of like, man, I've got to try something else. If you've been carrying burden for months or years of your life and you've sort of been living with other people's expectations or other people's sort of their sensibilities in place of your own. Oh, this is interesting. I was just watching something the other day. And And I'm just going to use this as because I was watching it, and this is just an example. But I didn't know this, and I'm learning this. BPD, right? Borderline person. No. Yeah, borderline personality disorder. Yes. I didn't know that one of the symptoms or one of the things that people who struggle with that disorder, what they have is a lack of sense of self. Like they define themselves and they take on the traits of other people. Sort of, I mean, this is not what they said when I was with what I was watching. They didn't say like a chameleon, but like that's what I'm sensing. Like some of you cancers have been like chameleons. You blend into your settings, surroundings, things like that. You blend in, and that creates burden. When we're not living our authentic truth, if we're not living for our own sake, living in our own spiritual truth, living in our own conscious truth, right? And we are taking on the mannerisms, the sensibilities, the expectations of other people on a consistent basis. It's not to say you never do, but when you do it consistently, you don't really know yourself, right? And again, I mentioned that maybe that applies for some of you. Maybe you do have borderline personality disorder. I'm not trying to read you. I'm not trying to call you out. It affects more people than I think some of us realize. So that might resonate for a few of you. And if that's the case, to suddenly be 20 something years old, 30, 40, 50, 60 years, something years old, right? And realize, oh my God, I've never really known who I am. I don't know what my own truth is. I don't really know a lot of what my own personality traits are. What have I inherited naturally from my own DNA, from my own development, or what has been sort of instilled in me? That's a crazy thing to wake up to, and that's a crazy prospect for people to just rush over, like I'm saying, and embrace this change and transformation, embrace letting it go. For some of you, it's not easy. It's not what you want to do, but I think many of you are coming to this very proactively, and you want to do this work because, again, you have some sense of dynamically, or excuse me, well, dynamically too, but based on your own divinity, based on your own development as a human, conscious human, sentient being, whatever that means to you, you have to do this work. A lot of you are coming to this like, I have to do this. I know I have to, even though you don't want to, but you have to. Interesting. Yes. So, you have to. The Hermit energy, or the Hermit card, also associated with, thank you, Virgo. This is Virgo's major arcana. So here's that acknowledgement, and here's sort of the sullen responsive. Yeah, I know, I gotta do it. Hermit energy is about doing the work, investigating what the issues are, seeking out diagnoses, seeking out help from professionals, going and attending therapy sessions if you need it, going and working on with a financial manager if you have, like I said, your karma, whatever you're karmically working on, Cancer, it comes in several different forms. It's going to be in several different realms of your life. So while some of you might have to struggle with certain mental disorders or emotional disorders, others of you need to talk to a financial advisor. Some other people, you guys need to talk to a dietitian or a nutritionist because you have issues with your physical health and what you're eating and how it affects you and all these kinds of things. Whatever it is, this card helps you do that work, because the aim of the Hermit is to bring healing to a situation. And if not bring healing, at least bring, the spotlight on it. Bring, shine a light on those areas of our lives where the woundings exist, where the problems exist, where the things that we've known we have had issues with our whole lives, but we've ignored them, where they exist, right? For some of you, again, it's going to involve therapy. It's going to involve the help of a professional. Others of you, this is all personal work. You do it by yourself. And, because we see this figure sitting up on the top of this mountain and there's no one else in sight. So, well, yeah, for some of you, you're not going to seek help of others, and that might be fine. That might be exactly what you need to help you, or that might be the route that you need to take to get to where you want to go. Others of you, you will will seek the help of other people. But again, much like therapy, much like anything any doctor prescribes you to do or any advisor tells you to do with your money, I can tell you to do this. If you have a problem saving money, I can tell you, okay, well, you need to cut spending here, 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 and here. And I want you to invest your money into a savings account so that it accrues interest over time. And someone can tell you that, and you can pay them good money to tell you that. But if you don't do that work by yourself on your own, if you don't take their advisement, it's for nothing. So whether you're actually talking to other people, getting other people involved in your healing journey and figuring out what you need to do to get to a better place for yourself, whether or not you enlist the help of others, you still have to do the legwork yourself. I'm just pointing that out because I feel some of you are like, I feel like there's like a group of this energy that's like, well, if I just go to a doctor and they tell me what to do, then everything will be fine. No, 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 no. You still have to do the work, right? Like maybe some of you, and this is, I'm not trying to shade you, but this is how some people think sometimes. If you do have a mental disorder or an emotional disorder, some of you are thinking, okay, well, I'll just go see a psychiatrist. They'll give me some pills and then I'll feel better. From what I understand, that's only like one part of it. Like being medicated, for some people, it works miracles. For other people, it creates a different set of complications or a different set of issues, right? And it has to be mitigated or it has to be mediated in some type of way. So there isn't a quick, thank you. The point is, there isn't a quick fix. When you see the Hermit card and the Devil, or excuse me, not the Devil card, the Death card and the Wheel of Fortune, you've got 3 majors out of your 6 here in the main spread that are major arcanas. This is not going to be easy work. This isn't like, putting a band-aid over, a broken bone, which is not at all how you heal broken bones, right? So there's a caution here for a few of you, just a few, because the majority of the Cancer energy is very proactive. It's very much aware of what's going on and why it's going on and getting to the bottom of things, right? But there's a small group of you that are just like, I just want a quick fix. You're not thinking of it consciously in that way, but subconsciously, that's how it is. I want a quick fix. And that's not going to happen. That's impossible. No offense, not trying to, hurt anybody's feelings here, but that's like totally not possible. All right. So the legwork is all on you, Cancer. All right. And again, most of you, you're like, you're not telling me anything I don't know. I said that earlier in this reading. I'm really just affirming what many of you have come to realize over the past several weeks or months of your life, period. All right. 8 of Wands is your final card in your main spread. So I feel that, yeah, taking action relatively quickly or relatively soon is in the cards for you. But okay. I feel like, maybe you've set a goal for yourself, or maybe you've set a start date for yourself. Maybe you're entering into a program or some type of counseling or some type of legal advisement, whatever it is, and it starts within 2 weeks or maybe like 8 weeks or 8 days or something with it. Again, I'm telling time with you guys in this reading, which is something I don't normally do in tarot. So maybe between 8 days and 8 weeks from now, you'll be starting something, congratulations, or maybe you'll be completing something, congratulations again, I don't know. But you understand, again, it happens quickly. And I think it's because, like I've said this entire reading, your mind has been sort of on this trajectory. Your conscious mind, your conscious effort has been on this trajectory for a minute. All right. This isn't something you started yesterday. This is something that many of you have been thinking about, considering over the past several months and possibly up to a year or two of your lives, Cancer. It's a huge transformation that you're going through. And that's maybe sort of been, well, I think contextually for some of you, like that has been sort of a part of the aha moment, is like, oh my God, I knew I had to change, but I didn't know it would take this long. Or when I started this, maybe that's what it is. When you started something, or when you do start something, you don't know how big of a change you're actually going to go through. You're not actually seeing the bigger scope of it. And that makes sense, especially with something like the Wheel of Fortune starting your reading. Hindsight will always be 20/20, right? And I feel like for some of you, that's what you're going to come into contact with once the change is well underway. And once the differences that you're seeking, or the relief, again, going back to the Ten of Wands, the relief that you're seeking, once you get it, you're going to be like, oh man, I really went through a lot of stuff to get to where I am today. And I think there's going to be like a nice little, like a breath of relief, a sigh of relief, right? But regardless of when you start, whether it's yesterday or, I said 8 weeks from now, whatever, whenever this process starts, I think you're going to be on it. And I think it's going to be, well, here we go. Okay, so you see how this guy or the silhouette is sort of like doing like this acrobatic sort of athletic pose or jump or whatever the hell this is. I think you're going to be put to your paces. Some of you are going to be experiencing some discomfort because it might require you to be more active than you're used to. And again, I'm being brought back to this concept of BPD. It doesn't have to be that, but anything relative to mental or emotional disorders or distress, right? Relative to possible, what is that called? Just oh God, what's it called? General depressive disorder or something like that. I don't remember. But when you're in stages like that, sometimes, not for everybody, but I feel many people are in a state of inaction or in a state of like sort of apathy, and like nothing really moves you and nothing really, like you physically possibly are just like a lazy lump, right? That's not me accusing, and that's not me trying to, make you feel bad, but that's a reality. And once you start getting involved in certain activities, going to certain therapies, following certain people's advice, following your own advice, creating, regimens for yourself, whatever you're doing, you might find yourself being more physically active than you're used to. And you might literally find yourself in sort of awkward physical positions. Some of you, maybe part of your work is going to be getting physically fit or getting yourself back out there into the gym, into some type of sports activity to kind of aid whatever work you're doing. Whatever, be prepared that you might find yourself being physically exhausted in a different way. Because you were exhausted here with the Ten of Wands. So I feel like for a few of you, the exhaustion might come in a different form. Okay? Outcome, Cancer. Here's the Taurus. Excuse me. Okay, so here, I've been mentioning them all throughout your reading. Hierophant. Okay, that makes sense. So this is major arcana for Taurus. You don't have to be dealing with a Taurus, but I've mentioned them so much. So if you are dealing with one, again, their message was very similar. Maybe you have Taurus placements in your chart somewhere. Maybe, sun, moon, rising, all that kind of stuff. Never mind, I'm not going to get into it. Anyway, but whether or not you're dealing with a Hierophant is beyond the point. The point is, I feel, Cancer, some of you are going to be turning back to school. Interesting. I'm getting like these people, these silhouettes. I feel like school, education, something about instruction is very important for some of you. So you might be going back to school, you might be getting a certification program underway, something like that. Or some of you might be doing a presentation, like I'm seeing like a TED Talk or something. So maybe some of you are doing a TED Talk, or there's a TED Talk of importance that maybe you need to attend or view or something like that. But I like this because I think like this is a good sturdy foundation for you. I think if you're beginning, excuse me, new behaviors in your life, Cancer, if you're meeting new people, making new friends, making new contacts, whether they be professional or personal, I feel as though whatever you're getting involved in, it's enriching. Thank you. It's enriching because, again, with this aspect, I'm really getting like school. I mean, maybe a little bit with the steeple that we see there. Maybe some of you, this is a church or some type of religious service or some type of religious practice or spiritual practice that you're getting involved in. Whatever. Whatever floats your boat. It totally works for me. But, again, I'm feeling like there's like this enriching coming out of it. Like, I feel like, interesting. The sensation that now I'm getting in my hands is like, gardening. Like maybe some of you are gardening, which is very interesting. But I mean, this is outdoors. It's not like traditional school where they're inside a classroom, right? So maybe some of you are like, what are those things called? People in the UK do it a lot. Allotments. And in the United States, we have things like community gardens. So maybe that's something some of you are turning to. That's very random, but like that's kind of because when I was doing this with my hand, Like I'm literally in my mind scooping soil with my hand. And mind you, I'm not a green thumb at all. I don't, but like that's what I'm feeling, like dirt fall through my fingers and stuff like that, or soil, I guess I should say. Excuse me, fall through my fingers. So I feel whatever you're doing, it can be in concert alongside other people. You could be instructed. Maybe that's what you're doing. Again, following the instructions of a therapist, an advisor, a good friend, a pastor, a priest, or a shaman, whatever. There's just something where many of you are going to be realigned with a new set of people or a new institution that is for your wellness, period. Spiritual wellness, most likely, is what that feels like. Very good. Overall energy is, and look at all the majors you have. Okay. Major, excuse me. Overall energy is major, kind of the tower. This is secondary major for, Jesus, I'm about to blank. Aries. Yes. Sometimes Scorpio. Thank you. But look at all the majors you have. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of 8 cards total. And then even behind the tower, you have the strength card. So there's a lot of cosmic influence over your reading, over this phase of your life right now, Cancer. Anyway, the tower. Big shakeups to your foundations, period. All right? This all is happening because at some point your spirit, your soul, your subconscious, your heart, whatever way you want to perceive it, whatever way you want to think of it, has looked at your circumstances and said, this is not what we want. This is not what's bringing us peace. This is not what's bringing us happiness. This is not what's bringing us fulfillment. Whatever we've been dealing with before now has been quite a burden, and we need to get rid of that. Now, that could, again, be happening on a subconscious level, could be coming from your guides, could be coming from your higher self. Again, however you perceive it, however it resonates to you. And I feel that the universe, spirit, God, whatever you, again, believe in or don't believe in, is basically working on in your behalf, right? So your soul sends out a message that says, Dear universe, I'm kind of not feeling what I'm going through right now. I don't like the circumstances I'm in. I don't like the relationships that I'm in, the quality that of the people that I'm around, the ways in which I'm performing or behaving is really like not up to snuff. Sincerely, Cancer. And so the universe says, okay, I'm going to tear down everything in your life. Well, not everything, but I'm going to tear down certain things in your life that you are used to, that you are believing, well, not believing, but that you're familiar with, right? I'm going to take that and tear it down. Sincerely, universe. P.S. Make sure you take care of yourself and things like that, whatever. So it's all sort of divinely orchestrated, but I don't know what you believe in or what you don't believe in, but what I can sense is because you've been so aware and because you've wanted this, or you've been so conscious in this action or in seeking getting to sort of squaring up something with your karma, because you've consciously been after that action, I understand very easily that you were a part of this tower energy. Again, you wanted this, whether you know it or not, Cancer. You wanted this, you asked for this, and now it's coming, okay? And that's not, bad. Tower moments tend to be good, even though the way they show up isn't always fun, but they end up being really good because, again, hindsight is 20/20, okay? All right, Cancer, that is your reading for November. If you liked it, there's a like button down below. Hit that for me. That'd be super cool. Feel free to comment on the video. Let me know how this resonated in your life if you want to share that information. And please, please, please subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. I would appreciate that. Cancer, I will be back soon with your mid-November readings. Again, if you want to get at me for a personal reading, you can look for the information on that in the description box, okay? Thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Take care.